Look at your city's skyline at night. Those bright lights on the skyscrapers seem like monuments to human ingenuity. But every floor of these giants has an unseen price. We aren't talking about billions of dollars, but liters of blood. If the concrete could speak, it wouldn't tell stories of architectural glory, but of screams muffled by tons of wet cement. Today, we are descending into the construction sites of the shadows, where the hard hat is just a decorative accessory in the face of the brutality of physics. These are the most painful deaths of construction workers of all time. To understand the horror we are about to explore, we need to talk about physics and biology. The human body is incredibly fragile when compared to a 5-ton steel beam falling at 30 miles per hour. On construction sites, death is rarely clean. It often comes in the form of what doctors call crush syndrome. When an immense weight traps a worker for a long period, destroyed muscles release toxins into the bloodstream. If the weight is removed suddenly, this toxic bomb hits the kidneys and the heart, killing the victim minutes after their supposed rescue. It is a cruel biological trap. Historically, safety was a joke. There is a grim saying in the industry: safety regulations are written in blood. Before them, the worker was a disposable resource, cheaper to replace than a broken concrete mixer. The job site is the perfect death triangle: relentless gravity, high voltage electricity, and massive machines that don't know the difference between gravel and bone. And when these elements meet a human body, the result is a lesson in destructive anatomy, where the brain, unfortunately, often remains conscious long enough to register every fracture. We open the files with a recurring nightmare: the concrete bath. Imagine working in the deep foundation of a pillar and slipping into the narrow formwork. Before you can recover, the order to pour is given. Tons of liquid concrete begin to rain down on you. It isn't like quicksand. It is a material 3 times denser than water, heavy and chemically aggressive. The victim fights against the hydrostatic pressure that crushes their rib cage, making it impossible to expand the lungs to breathe. At the same time, the lime in the cement begins to cause third-degree chemical burns on the skin and eyes. It is a slow, wet, and corrosive suffocation. It is a cruel irony where the worker literally becomes part of the building's foundation, entombed in the monument they helped to raise. Shifting from suffocating weight to pure energy, we have the terror of the arc flash. On industrial job sites, electricity doesn't just give you a shock. If a worker brings a metal tool near a high-voltage line, the energy can jump through the air. This creates a plasma explosion that can reach 36,000 degrees Fahrenheit in a millisecond. The biological horror here is unique. The ultra-high voltage current prefers to travel through tissues with the least resistance, your internal nerves and blood vessels, cooking your organs instantly, while the outer skin may look intact for a few seconds. Victims of this type of accident sometimes remain conscious for agonizing moments, feeling their own bodies boil from the inside before total collapse. And finally, the #1 killer: gravity. Falls from scaffolding are common, but falling down an elevator shaft is a special category of horror. In skyscrapers under construction, these shafts are dark abysses that cut through the building from top to bottom. A single misstep in the dark leads to a terrifying freefall. But the landing is the true nightmare. The bottom of a construction elevator shaft is never clean. It is a dumping ground for debris, and often a field of steel rebar pointing upward like medieval spears. Surviving the initial impact of the fall usually means facing the agony of multiple impalements.
Trapped in the dark, bleeding out on cold steel. But none of these individual cases compare to the horror of a total structural collapse, like the L'Ambiance Plaza disaster in the 1980s. We are talking about a construction method where entire concrete slabs weighing hundreds of tons were lifted by hydraulic jacks. When one system failed, the entire building suffered a pancake collapse in seconds. Imagine the deafening sound of 16 floors of concrete and steel slamming into each other, compacting everything between them. For the workers who didn't die instantly from the impact, the true torture began. They were buried under mountains of unstable rubble in total darkness, breathing air filled with silica dust. The most painful scenario reported by rescue teams in disasters like this involves survivors trapped in impossible ways. Imagine being conscious, with the lower half of your body crushed under a 50-ton beam and a piece of rebar through your shoulder. The pain is indescribable.
But your mind is clear. You hear the moans of your colleagues fading around you. And the worst part? Experienced rescuers know that the moment they lift that beam, the pressure holding back the internal hemorrhaging will disappear, and the shock of crush syndrome will kill you instantly. It is the ultimate agony of knowing that the weight torturing you is also the only thing keeping you alive. Look at the ceiling above you right now. It is likely that someone risked their physical integrity so that structure could exist. Our civilization is a shining monument built on the silent sacrifice of millions of anonymous people in hard hats. Steel is cold, glass is impersonal, but the foundations, those are hauntingly human. If you work in the field, leave your story in the comments. Has safety really improved, or is it just a corporate facade? Today, we talked about the deaths that built the modern world. But what about the agonies that history has purposefully chosen to forget? There are tragedies so bizarre and painful, they were swept under the rug of time. In the next video, we are going to dig through the dusty archives to discover the most painful deaths in history that no one talks about. Subscribe so you don't miss this macabre excavation.